$57 million the state has spent since 2020. And this is against the backdrop of these conditions in the prisons that are just absolute squalor, that the legislature has long said, well, we don't have money. We don't have any money to fix these problems. Well, we clearly have money to pay attorneys to defend the system. And that's part of the reason that I was interested in this is, these lawsuits that are resulting in paid settlements are an interesting cohort of lawsuits to look at because these are not frivolous lawsuits. I mean, you file a lawsuit, they don't immediately cut you a check. It has to go through several rungs of our federal court system. And a magistrate or federal judge has looked at the complaint, looked at the evidence that the prisoner or whoever filed with it, affidavits, medical records, whatever they submitted. The judge looks at the state's motion to dismiss, which is always filed. They'll file a motion to dismiss saying this isn't true. We claim immunity. There's not a credible claim here. And the judges are saying, nope, I'm not going to dismiss. This needs to go to trial and be heard by a jury. And so all that has to happen first, and then the state will start talking about settlements. So ADOC was very quick to tell me a paid settlement is not an admission of guilt or wrongdoing. Well, that's true, but it is a liability payment. And it is in some ways a victory for the plaintiff because they're getting something out of the system, some measure of accountability. But the state is doing this in astronomical numbers, 124 lawsuits that I identified since 2020 that have resulted in settlement, while they are publicly denying that there are unconstitutional conditions in the prisons. And so it's like these lawsuits are filed over the same conditions, over the same allegations. So it's almost like we've got a public-facing state saying, oh, no, nothing to see here. We don't have unconstitutional conditions, and we're going to use your money to fight the DOJ while quietly paying out all these lawsuits to make these individual lawsuits go away.